I've sat across the table from people who have built brilliant businesses, worked 7 days a week for 30 years, employed other people, paid themselves last. And when they finally sat down to work out what retirement looked like for them, there was almost nothing in a pension. And then I've sat across from someone who spent their entire career as an employee, never ran anything, never took a risk in their life, never earned anywhere near what the business owner earned, and they retired better off. Not because they were cleverer, not because they earned more, but because of something that was happening quietly in the background of every single payslip for decades. And most of them barely noticed it. So let me show you what that thing is, because if you're employed right now, you're sitting on the single best deal in British personal finance, and there's a decent chance you're only using about half of it. So let's start with the bit everybody leans on when it comes to retirement, the state pension. This tax year, it's £12,548 a year, and I want to be fair to it. That is not nothing. For most people retiring today, their mortgage is gone, the kids have left home, and £12,500 a year does a genuinely useful job. It keeps the lights on, it does the food shop, it pays the council tax and the insurance and the broadband. Runs the house, but there's one thing nobody tells you. Running a house is not the same as living a life. Because none of this is that number. Not running a car, I mean running it, insuring it, taxing it, replacing it when it dies, the holidays, the hobbies, maybe the gym membership, the season tickets, money for the grandchildren, the weddings that you'll be invited to, or worse, the new boiler when the old one goes in December. That's not a luxury list, that's just life. And to put a number on it, the full state pension is actually about £1,352 short of what's actually considered a minimum standard of living. That's a minimum, and that doesn't even include a car, and that's for one person. So the state pension does a lot of heavy lifting, but it doesn't do the living part, which means everything you actually want to do and be in retirement, the trips, the generosity, that comes from the pot that you built while you were working. This is where being employed changes everything. When you're a self-employed person, putting £1,000 into a pension, you get tax relief. That's good, that's real, that's all you get. But when you're employed, three things happen to the same £1,000. The first is the tax. You don't pay income tax on the money going into a pension. So that slice that would have gone to HMRC goes into your pension pot instead. The second is national insurance, and this is the one almost nobody uses properly. If your employer runs what's called a salary sacrifice or salary exchange, you can agree to take a slightly less salary and your employer pays that amount straight into your pension instead. Same money, different route, but because your salary is technically lower, you don't pay national insurance on it, and neither does your employer. And a lot of employers will just hand that saving straight back into your pension as well, immediately guaranteed. And that's before it's invested into anything. There is no fund, no share, no investment on earth that gives you that from day one. And I haven't even mentioned the third thing yet, the match. Because your employer has to pay into your pension, that's the law, there's an awful lot of employers that will pay more than they have to. If you do, put in an extra 2%, they'll match it. Some go even further. I've seen an employer matching up to 20%, which is just insane. In the budget last November, the Chancellor announced that salary sacrifice is being capped. From April 2029, the first £2,000 a year will escape national insurance. Anything above that gets taxed as normal. About 7.7 million employees use salary sacrifice. 3.3 million of them put more than £2,000 a year. So roughly 40% of people using salary sacrifice are going to be affected, which means if you've got 3 full tax years where the current rules still apply, if you're 55, 62, and you're in that final stretch of your working life, this is the window. This is when it's worth the most and in the shortest amount of time. So if there's one thing, and it's one thing I see people get caught up on or caught out on, it's when you're auto-enrolled, you were put into a default fund. You almost certainly did not choose that fund, and you are most likely in a lifestyling fund. So as you get nearer to retirement age, you're automatically moved out of your investments into cash, more into bonds. And it starts 5 to 10 years before you retire. It happens quietly. You don't get a letter. That made complete sense once because everyone bought an annuity at 65 and needed that money to sit still. But pension freedoms changed in 2015. And today, only around 1 in 10 people buy an annuity. The rest of us stay invested. So you might have a fund quietly winding itself down for a retirement that you're not actually having. It's worth checking, not changing, because whether it's right for you depends entirely on your plans, and that's a conversation, not a rule. You might stop working at 60, but your money doesn't stop at 60. If you're lucky, and I hope you are, that pot has another 25, 30 years plus left in it. You're not spending the entire pot. You're drawing down an income from something that is still growing while you're on the beach, I hope. Retirement isn't necessarily about the size of your pot. I've seen people with £500,000 be frightened and people with £200,000 be absolutely fine. The difference was never the money. It was knowing what their life costs and knowing where the income is coming from. You've probably spent years being handed a number every month and making it work. Nobody's handing you one anymore. So you need to go out and find out what your number is going to be and do it whilst you've still got time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.